Mental Health Warriors presents a mental health microsode.
Today is October 10th, 2017, and it's World Mental Health Day. And I thought I would do something a little different on this microdose. So what I did was in the Mental Health Warriors group, where we have this amazing, thriving community of absolutely awesome men who are supporting each other and creating a brotherhood every day. I asked them, what's the one thing you want people to know about mental health? And I thought what I would do is just read the responses out so you can get a bunch of different perspectives on mental health from men that are dealing with it or who have dealt with it or who are helping others deal with it. Okay, so very simple episode. I'm going to try not to editorialize too much, but I'm going to fail miserably because that's kind of how I roll. But regardless, let me read you some of these amazing responses because I think it'll give you some insight into the mind of other people, into your fellow citizens on this beautiful blue orb called Earth. So here we go. Remember, the question is, what's one thing you want people to know about mental health? That all of us, no matter who you are, have some kind of so-called disorder. It's a sliding scale. Not every day is bad and not every day is good. But most of all, talk about it. Being a medical professional, I know that people years back were ashamed of admitting being diabetic or having seizures. Now people are open and no one bats an eye anymore. So break down this self-made barrier and talk. Next one is, there is no collective normal. As such, normal's not a goal. And I think this is a great one because we're actually going to have a podcast coming up called The Myth of Normal, which I think will be really interesting for people. Next one. That's a great question. So first of all, I want to give this particular mental health warrior a lot of credit because I happen to love when I ask a question and then people respond by telling me that's a great question. It makes me feel good. So congratulations to this particular mental health warrior. His answer is already my favorite and I haven't even gotten to it yet. That's a great question. I think of one of my life's missions is about helping people understand that mental illness doesn't define the person. It's a challenge they must endure. It is not the culmination of who they are. Amen, brother. Next one. We all have mental health stress, just at varying degrees. Try to understand it and not hide from it. Love that one. Okay, I'm going to have to scroll down here a little bit, so bear with me. Next one. I feel like when someone talks about cancer or some other illness, people get behind you and throw tons of support for them. I'm not saying we as a society should not do that, and I'm happy that we do, but it feels to me generally that when you say, I have depression or anxiety or PTSD, people sort of say, oh, I'm sorry, and then that's about it. I don't know if this is coming across the right way. I guess I wish there was more awareness and openness about it. And that's exactly what we're trying to do in Mental Health Warriors. And actually, this guy's comment started a nice conversation between him and a couple other people. Next one. There is no normal. Yes, people, don't strive to try to be someone else's definition of normal. This is me doing the editorializing I said I was not going to do. So I'm going to stop now. Next one. This particular one is by one of my favorite mental health warriors, and he's just such an incredible writer, and he's sort of stepping into that right now. But what he wants people to know is, I wish people knew or perhaps better understood that just because they can't see a physical manifestation of another person's illness, that it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I am not taking this shit. When people talk about what superpower you would want, I always say I'd like the power to be able to force people to empathize briefly. Like I could touch them and they'd feel depression or loneliness or physical pain from unseen maladies. Just a second or two. Maybe then they'd understand. Boom. I love that one. Next, don't define me by my illness. I am much more than that. Next, as an illness, it can be handled with empathy, kindness, and compassion, rather than a negative reaction. Next one. There's so many responses to this. I love it. I look forward to the day when a person can just come out and say they're struggling and having others hear that in the same light as I have a sore throat or my leg hurts, etc. This is a common theme you can see in these answers. And remember what I tell you is that one of the ways you can make a huge contribution to the world is by acknowledging that you have struggled as well. and then telling people that and letting them know that if they ever want to talk to you, you won't judge them. Right? Super powerful. And I'm editorializing again, and I'm now realizing I'm probably not going to be able to stop myself. So, next answer. I want people to understand that it's not your fault. Next one. I want them to understand that men have emotions and need support just as much as anyone else. It does not make us weak. Amen. Next one. That we're not faking it. Think of how simple that answer is. We are not faking it. It's real. Next one. It's complex, and it's not just binary. It's not an on-off or yes-no type of situation. And there are degrees of scale for each person. And what works for one person in terms of management may not be as effective for someone else because of all that. This is so, so true. God, it's like that whole idea of N of one medicine, right? Like we are all unique individuals, and this is a beautiful way to make that point. The next one, it's not a terminal illness, right? Actually, that was the last one. It is not a terminal illness. That's right. It's not a terminal illness. So there's, 10 or 12 responses from men and what they want you to know about mental health. So on World Mental Health Day, I guess what I would ask you to do is listen to this episode. Consider what these people have said, because these are real human beings. I obviously left them anonymous because confidentiality is one of the guiding principles of mental health warriors. But these are real human beings, and these are men who have families and careers and who are doing amazing things and are supporting each other, but they are struggling with mental health issues. And there's a whole range in them. They range from everything from biological conditions to results of childhood trauma to trying to understand or define a purpose and move relentlessly towards it. Like there's this entire spectrum of what's going on with the men in the Mental Health Warriors group. But the most important thing I want you to know is they're incredible human beings. I see in there every fucking day how they step up for each other, how they open up to each other, how they support each other, how they listen to one another. It's just a beautiful thing to be able to be a part of. And so on World Mental Health Day, I guess I would ask you to step up and do the thing that I tell you to do at the end of every single episode. And that's to say, hey, listen, if you're struggling, I want you to know that I have struggled too. And if you ever want to talk to me, I will not fucking judge you. That last fucking is optional, but I feel passionate about it today, and I always cuss my head off when I feel passionate. So please go forth, make the world a better place. Use your own struggles in the service of other people. It is not only a great gift to them, but it is a great gift to yourself, because when you turn your struggles into a source of contribution, it changes the stories you tell yourself about them. So remember that. How virtuously beautiful is it that you can serve others and serve yourself at the same time? So guys, have a great day. Thank you for listening on this World Mental Health Day, and go forth and make a difference today, and we'll see you next time.
Stay tuned for more mental health microsodes.